Welcome into the Hong Kong Fusion Podcast with your hosts, Dave, Jack, and Tyler.
What's up, everyone? It's Dave, Jack, and Tyler hanging out on a Wednesday night, featuring Satan on the soundboard.
Thank you, Satan, for the wonderful introduction. As always, how's everyone doing?
Doing well
Covering
after
for
week
week
one.
one.
Two opposite
Great
ends of the
start.
spectrum there. How are you doing, Jack?
I am excellent. Had a great week one. Pretty much had the best player in the league. That helped. And I'll talk more about that in a little bit. But yeah, I'm 2-0. I scored the second most points, so feeling good.
Yeah. We're jumping right into reviewing our matchups. So last week we did the matchup preview. This will be the matchup review. And just because I want it to happen again, Tyler, why don't you kick things off and review your matchup from last week?
Sure. Well, T. Higgins hates me and apparently doesn't like football either because he didn't catch passes. Lamar Jackson,
I need a goose
Sucked.
sound drop.
yeah, you do. Lamar Jackson sucked, but also they won, so whatever. Yeah, it was a bunch of people just underperforming, and I'm not happy about it. Calvin Ridley ate my soul. Amon-Ra is the best. So hopefully this week I'll get off the schneid and my studs will actually play good football.
Best of luck.
Tough.
I'm not. I
Did
don't
you
have high
conquer
hopes.
Did you conquer the median score?
No. I'm 0-2. It is tough when T. Higgins and Lamar Jackson combine for 6.56 points. And then I'll add in DJ Moore. The three of those combined for 10 points. So it's tough to do anything.
So DJ and Lamar combined for 10 is what you're saying.
Yeah, but it's
Also true.
sounds better when you include T. Higgins. Makes it feel worse, which it was. I'm basically just
Yeah. Well,
Better luck next week.
I was able to benefit from the aforementioned T. Higgins performance
Oh my
as
God.
I went up against Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase this week, who combined for 12.3 fantasy points, which was 32.2 less fantasy points than Tyreek Hill.
Good thing you had him.
Yeah, it helped. It helped me win by 85. So um, I had the wonderful honor of renaming Todd, who is new to the league, and absolutely crushing him in week one. And that was
Welcome.
my favorite part of the matchup being if we only had played tight ends this week, I would have won 1.4-0, with Isaiah Likely beating out Dallas Goedert. So he couldn't even get more points at my worst position.
I just want to interject and say that might be the worst week one fantasy points I've ever seen in my time playing fantasy.
his score of 63.
Yeah. Though,
It's not
however,
good.
I didn't see any of these myself, but I've heard about them. There were rosters that I'm sure are on Twitter that had Rodgers, Higgins, Drake
Goddard.
London, and Goddard that people submitted images of.
And that's Rodgers.
Unfortunate.
Did he have a completion? No, right?
He did not.
I don't know.
He went 0 for 1 through the air and also took a sack.
So all four of them had 0 points.
Yeah.
So
I
Really
saw
impressive.
to add on to that, the quarterback one that I saw was Joe Burrow, who had like 3.
Mhm.
That team also had like Sky Moore in the flex. It had Chargers defense, which in that league had -5, and Graham Gano, who missed 2 kicks. So they had like -7 points in the DST and the kicker slot. And with Burrow and a bunch of zeros from, like you said, London, Higgins, Goddard, the team scored like 7 fantasy points. So bad.
That is awesome.
Do you think they hit the league median?
I'd say no.
Well, they
But-
helped make it lower, according to some.
According-
According to people who don't
According
remember
to
math.
Todd, who got blown out by 85. Stinks at football, fantasy football, and math. All right. I am also 2-0. I hit the league median. Joe Mixon, only player on the Bengals who actually put up respectable numbers. Also had Ramondre show a little bit at the end of that Eagles-Patriots game with a couple catches. I was also very happy to have Aaron Jones. I will be very unhappy to not have him this next week. I also would like to report that after leaving the draft with the most quarterbacks, I now am down to 1. We have shed the excess
Congratulations.
quarterbacks from the roster. Thank you very much. Mostly due to the fact that 25% of my total team is probably not available for week 2. So that's tough. Not
That
in a
is
good
tough.
spot. Happy to have started 2-0. I am not happy to probably get my doors blown off by Pete this week.
Shout out to Pete, high score of the week.
Shout out
Yes.
to half youths, half olds.
Shout out to Pete. Your $10 check is in the mail. Weekly high score. All right. We're moving on to
Big money over here.
a fan favorite. I don't know what I just said. Fan favorite segment from last year.
Go in or goal on.
Chinese have wonderful instruments.
They've been
Very
playing them
soothing.
for thousands of years, so
Yes, they have. Cool. Would either of you like to be put on the spot and talk about why this game is called Go In or Goal On?
sure, I'll take this one. So Golan used to be our friend, rest in peace. He's alive, but he's dead to us. So yeah, basically he sucks, and we're talking about players if we're buying a line or selling, and so buying would be going in, Golan would be selling, like we were happy to do with his friendship.
Well said.
Incredible. Just what a redemption story from the matchup preview last week.
Yeah.
All right. First player we're going to talk about. Tyler, I believe you drafted this player.
Nope.
In several other leagues, not this one, of course.
Nope. Drafted him in 0 leagues.
Believe you acquired him from me in a league, a dynasty league.
Not a
Rashad
draft.
White. Rashad White, believe a 7th round pick. Definitely drafted for volume, not efficiency. Believe he had 19 touches last week for a whopping 39 yards.
It's pretty efficient.
Feels
So
impossible.
it really does. Almost as impossible as TJ Hawkinson having 1 less catch than Jefferson and 135 less yards.
You know,
but that also
I've
happened.
started thinking about their yards in feet, and it sounds more impressive. It's like if you said he
Do
ran
tell.
for 150 feet on 19 carries, that sounds more impressive.
It sounds further.
Yeah, it sounds way further. Like, oh, he ran it 19 times, but he got to 150 feet. It's like, well, okay, that's a lot.
You're right. I mean, that's a great strategy.
Yeah.
I feel like we should start doing that for players we need to like boost trade value for.
For bad weeks.
On the
Yeah.
flip side, if you think about it as it took him 19 carries to run a 40-yard dash, that doesn't sound good. So
It's not.
Certainly not.
go either way.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, back to the line. That was
sorry.
off on a tangent there. That's quite fine. 65.5 total yards is the line this week. And they are at home against the Bears.
I'm gonna go in. I mean, at Jones million
What'd you
He
say?
did.
and Rashad White like isn't terrible. I don't think he might be, but I don't think he is. And it's not that 65.5 isn't that many yards. Like if he gets 19 more carries, he'll get 66 yards this week, just based on like better defense or worse defense. I mean, I don't know.
Feels
Going
like a
in.
good line. Shout out to me. I like it. I'm with you, Jack. I'll also go in.
I'm going in as well, but not because I think he's going to be more efficient running. I think it's just because he's a pass catcher. That's what his.
Hmm.
I think that's going to add to it.
2 catches last week.
Yeah, that should go up. I think. I don't know.
Baker sucks at that though.
What the hell do we know?
Right.
Amen. All right, moving on to the dynamic duo on the Falcons. Certainly not Bijan and Tyler Algier, but the back-to-back first-round picks of Drake London and Kyle Pitts. They've got the Green Bay Packers this week, and they go a line of 4.5 combined catches between the two. That also feels impossible, given that Kyle Pitts is an athletic freak and Drake London is certifiably good at football. But they also will run the ball in all scenarios.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. I'm taking the goal line on this one.
What?
Oh man, I as a Atlanta Falcons truther this year have to go in on this because they're gonna win. They'll only throw like 17 passes, but 4.5 is just so low. I think they'll make it a point to involve London more than they did last week because he's good. I don't know. I'm going in though.
Yeah, I'm going in as well just because of. I was gonna say like historical precedent, but we've seen them not get that, so I can't say that. But I just feel like it's impossible for them to not combine for 5 catches, at least.
2 catches
Not
on
like-
4 targets combined last week. I will
I
just
know.
remind you.
Yeah. Well, like there's been worse quarterbacks than Desmond Ritter. And I mean not many, but there has been. And
Put him in a body bag, Jack. In all
and
of
I don't know.
history.
Players still get catches with
Yeah.
bad quarterbacks.
Well, put it this way: do you think Matt LaFleur is a good coach?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes,
if I'm
I
a good
do.
coach, I'm selling out to stop Bijan and Algier.
Yeah. For
That
sure.
pause was way too long. It wasn't a trick question.
I just had no idea where you were going to go with it.
Well,
I
that's
had to
my
think about if he was the Falcons coach or the Packers coach.
Yeah, I think especially moving forward, if you're playing the Falcons, you're going to make Ritter throw the ball.
Yeah.
I also didn't make the connection immediately because I also immediately forgot that they were playing Green Bay. So could have basically asked
Could
me
you
if I
imagine
thought
if I
any
just-
coach was a good coach, and I'd be
You
like,
think Jeff Fisher's a good coach?
I think he's very mediocre. All right. Jahmyr Gibbs played on Thursday Night Football week 1 and looked great, but didn't see too many touches. I think David Montgomery had like almost 3 times the amount of touches. Jahmyr Gibbs had like 7 or 8, maybe 9. Line this week, 13.5. Go in or goal on 13.5 touches for Jahmyr Gibbs. For reference, the
All right.
Lions have
In the spirit of they're playing the
Seahawks.
Seahawks. Do you think Dan Campbell's a good coach?
No.
Oh, God. I mean, he's on my team, so I'm gonna go in, but it's a really good line. I think like 12 to 15 is like a hot spot for him. And I'm more relying on a repeat of last year's Lions Seahawks game. That was like 48 to 42 or whatever. And if that's the case, he'll certainly have 14 touches. But knowing Dan Campbell, he'll have 10 touches and they'll be like, well, he's a rookie and it was his first day game, so we wanted him to adjust to only eating breakfast before playing.
It's a very Dan Campbell thing to say.
Tyler, what do you think?
I'm going to go Lon.
Gonna go
think-
Lon as well.
I think he's going to be very much a Pollard of yesteryear type usage, where he's extremely efficient on his limited touches, but they
Yeah,
keep
they don't.
fresh.
I think that's the episode name right there. Tony Pollard yesteryear.
Which, by the way, I disagree with. I think he should be having 20 opportunities every game. Because, spoiler alert, I bet he does the same thing on the rest of those touches as well.
I think last year, week 4 or 5, these two teams played and combined for like almost 90 points. So
Yeah, it was crazy.
could be a barn burner, as they say.
I don't know.
Forget about that.
Seahawks are going to have to play a little better.
Yeah. Well, I did drop Geno Smith, so I mean,
Now he's going to be the quarterback one.
he'll throw 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Hopefully all to DK Metcalf, which I will be starting. All right, last go in or goal on. Injuries to my starting players this week. Over under 1.5. Smash the over.
I'm going to take the under, but I think it's going to be 1.
Please.
Yeah, I'll
please.
take the under. It's gonna be 1.
It will hopefully be 0.
Impossible.
It would be impossible for me to absorb more injuries. So
Anthony Richardson meniscus incoming.
we're moving on before I have to think about that.
Fantasy football trivia.
All right, gentlemen, we've got this week the top 30 wide receivers
Oh my
in
God.
week 1 in Hong Kong Fusion scoring. We'll go back and forth. And first to get, let's say, 3 strikes is the loser. Who wants to go first?
Me?
Can I go first? Because I have. Can I go first? Because I have the wide receiver one on my team. Seems fair.
I think that seems fair.
Tyreek Hill.
Let me double check that Tyreek's on the board here. Of course he is. Tyler, on to you, sir.
I'm going to say Calvin Ridley.
Calvin Ridley would be number 6.
I will say
Okay.
Brandon Ayuk.
Brandon Ayuk, 2 touchdown game. He's leading the league in touchdowns, by the way. Number 2 on the week.
Tied for the league in touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm going to say Sun God.
Amon-Ra St. Brown. He would be number 11. Well done.
I will say Jacoby Myers.
Ooh, Jacoby Myers, I believe, also tied for the league lead in touchdowns. Number 3.
Justin Jefferson.
He had a great first half,
Which is insane.
very much so.
I will go with Kendrick Bourne.
Jack just running through the tied for the league
League
lead in
lead.
touchdown players. Kendrick Bourne is number 5.
I'm gonna go with Puka.
Puka was very upset to not secure him on waivers this week. Puka Nacua, number 9 on the week.
Who got him?
I will, in the spirit of the Rams, switch it up from touchdown scorers and go with Tutu Atwell.
Tutu Atwell is on there. Also, if I were to have told you before week 1 that 2 Rams would be in the top 5 in receiving yards in week 1 and neither of them were Cooper Kupp, that'd be insane. Tutu Atwell, number 5, Puka Nacua, number 4. Total receiving yards.
I'm going to say, because he also caught touchdowns, Romeo Dobbs.
Romeo Dobbs, bad at football.
Good at helping your
Good
Good
team.
here
at
today.
being in the top 30.
Crap,
I
I
will
don't
go with
know people here.
Chris Olave,
You should know about him on your
which
team.
was quite tilting first drive by the Saints. It was like all Michael Thomas.
Who else did well?
I think he had 4 catches before Olave had a target.
Mm-hmm.
Stephon Diggs.
He
Good
may be
choice.
on here. He is number 4. In a losing effort to Zach Wilson and the Jets. We are rolling.
Why is top 30 so hard, though?
I don't know. I feel like it's getting tricky. I'll go with Zay Jones.
Zay Jones,
Yeah.
Catch of the week.
catch of the week on the list.
Oh. What other teams are in the NFL? Probably not high. And man, I'm gonna go
30's
with
a lot.
Some mid-range wide
I'm just
receiver
gonna-
3 here.
I'm gonna say Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams is very close to have been the first strike. He's number 29
Jesus Christ.
on this list.
I will take follow-up to catch of the week. Maybe catch of the week. Garrett Wilson.
I would think that was pretty good catch. He is number 22. Hope you're playing along at home,
Dad.
Dad.
Crap.
Gonna need an answer.
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown.
He might not be on the list.
He's on there.
Yeah, he's on there.
Number 21.
Okay.
Devonta Smith.
Devontae Smith is also on there. I was waiting for the first Eagle to drop because that was just going to lead to the second one.
Man, Cowboys didn't do anything. Zay Flowers?
Zay
Yeah, good
Flowers
one.
is on the list. Zay Flowers was 16. Also on my bench.
All right. Bench rookies. Jordan Addison.
Jordan Addison is on there. Number 19. Caught a touchdown. Good debut.
I'm gonna say Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen is on the list as well, number 23.
God, this is getting really hard.
I'm very surprised we've yet to miss. Proud of you
This
guys.
is gross. Portland Sutton.
Cortland
I couldn't bring myself to say it. I don't know, but I think he did well.
He
He
scored.
just made it. He's on there.
I'm gonna go off Dave's hint from earlier. Josh Reynolds?
It was a good hint. It was a well-timed hint. He is the 30th player on the list. May have been the reason I decided that this game was going to be top 30 and not top 24.
Man.
Also not the last time Josh Reynolds will be discussed on this podcast today.
Oh.
Spoiler alert. I don't know why I said it like that.
Oh, Mike Evans.
Mike Evans. Shout out to his family as well. He is number 13. Might need to come up with a tiebreaker.
Why do I think there's a second lion on this list?
We are nerds. Because there's already 2 lions on the list.
Oh, okay, a third. I can't say.
There's definitely not a third
Okay.
lion.
Okay.
Can I interest you in a Sky Moore?
No, we cannot.
Also, to give you a moment to think.
Jahan Dotson? I don't think so.
It's going to give you a moment to think, but that will be the first strike.
Dick.
Is there a drop or anything, or we're not there yet?
No, there's no. I don't have a drop for a strike.
No buzzer.
Nah, no buzzer. Tune in next week for producer Joe. Whip that up for next week.
I just remembered that DK Metcalf scored a touchdown.
DK Metcalf did score a touchdown, and he did just enough to make it. He's number 25. Just 3 catches. Michael Pittman is going to round out the top 10. He was number 8. And we've got 5 answers left on the board.
Oh, wow, this is tough now. I don't think this is correct, but Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle. No. Tyreek Hill just took too many opportunities. Jalen Waddle is not on the board.
Yeah,
he was outside the top 30.
He didn't kill me, but he didn't do a lot. God.
Need an answer, sir.
Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas is not on the board. That's going to be strike 2 for Tyler. He apparently did nothing after those 4 catches before Chris Olave on the first drive.
Okay,
might have just unlocked something for Jack, though.
Oh, that hint does give it away. But
What?
Yeah, all right, I'll say it. Rashid Shaheed.
Rashid Shaheed is on the board. Now I kind of feel bad that I gave one up for Jack. So, Tyler, my hint for you will be that this player took what should have been DJ Moore's.
Mm.
I don't know that answer.
Oh, that's tough.
It is. Well,
Alley-ooped it to you, and then it
there's a
just
50-50 chance.
fell directly on the floor.
But I didn't watch that game, nor do I
know any other Bears.
No, I know 2 of them. I just don't. I have no gauge other than these 2 other people. There's got to be another answer.
4 left.
I know. This
on
is
the board.
Worst. Mooney.
50-50 shot.
Nails it.
Nailed it. Number 20 on the board.
Okay, I am going back to the Dolphins. Give me
Bold
Richard
strategy.
give me Richard Crockraft or whatever his name is.
All right, I'm gonna need a ruling from producer Joe because we got an incorrect first name, but I feel like the sentiment was correct. That would be River Craycraft. Very difficult to say. Number 28. Well done.
Oh my god.
River.
River. Imagine being Jalen Waddle and being outperformed by a guy named River.
Yeah.
I know one. I know one of these.
I don't. Debo didn't also crack this list, did he?
We locking in a guess?
Yes, Debo.
Debo is not on the board. That will be strike 3 for
Damn.
Tyler. So that's a win for Jack. But Jack, you got 2 more names to rip.
Nico Collins.
Nico Collins is number 24. Do we have number 26?
No. We do not.
You have 2 guesses.
I mean, he already won, so
Yeah, I don't know.
that would be player that had some off-season drama. Ended up, was he going to be traded? Was he going to be cut from his team that is currently a dumpster fire, led by the great former Eagle great Jonathan Gannon? That would be DeAndre Hopkins at 26. But 29 out of 30 is pretty solid. Well done, boys.
I'll take it.
We'll have to keep score throughout the year. But there we go. Week 1 trivia. And Jack's gonna take it. And we're on to the next item.
DFS Showdown.
Not sure what happened there with the drop. Producers hopefully can get on that for next time. Last week, I believe I won, and I believe Tyler came in second.
That is correct.
It's a win for trivia. It's an L for DFS.
I'm better than Jack at DFS is what I heard there.
This season you are.
Tune in next week to see if Tyler's still better than Jack in DFS.
Who cares about the past?
I think this should be interesting because as I was going through this, I don't feel like there were any
Free
super
squares.
obvious plays. So
I had 2. There were 2 guys that I felt should be in my lineup
fair enough.
based on like
And-
price and situation.
Yeah. And last week, I think we all had Tyreek Hill. I think.
No, there's a reason one of us lost.
Oh, yes, there is a reason one of us lost. Yes, you're right.
I did
shame on
not
you
have
for
Tyreek. I
not
had
believing
I
in
paid
your
up for.
own Hong Kong Fusion team.
I know I paid up for Jefferson, so I kind of like he only had 17 less points, but that was the difference.
He was like just the wide receiver 6 on the week, but
Right.
In 1/2.
dude, it's so frustrating. There were so many times last year where he would have like 16 fantasy points legitimately on the first drive. He'd have like 5 for 65 and a touchdown. And then his point total would not shift for 3.5 quarters.
Here's what I don't get is if they can't cover him in the first half, like what sort of adjustment are they going to do where they're going to all of a sudden just lock him down in the second half? Just keep throwing him the ball.
All of the adjustments, apparently.
Yeah, like
It's what Kirk Cousins seeing out there. He's
quadruple team him, I guess. But then, okay, short of that, short of you literally tackling him like on the line of scrimmage, you should throw him the ball every play.
I'm with you.
End rant.
Don't disagree. All right, I'll start it off. Quarterbacks, going Anthony Richardson. Practiced in full, healthy. Has the Texans. Should be good.
I almost went there. I went with Trevor Lawrence instead at home against the Chiefs.
I also went with the prince who was promised, Trevor Lawrence.
There we go. Didn't think there'd be too much overlap, and you two are overlapping on QB already.
Yep.
Well, I bet that means we overlap elsewhere as well.
Probably at one receiver.
I bet two of us have Calvin Ridley.
One receiver with a gambling problem.
Tyler, who you got at running back?
At running back, I have David Montgomery and Kenneth Walker 3L. I.
3L.
It's a bold strategy going running backs on opposite sides of the field.
They're both high T guys.
They are both high T. That's for sure.
IT 3L. So David Montgomery for me was one of my like must plays based on price and volume projection. So I threw him in there. And then I put Tyler Algier. They are so stubborn that I think like everybody wants them to give the ball to Bijan 80 times, but they're just so stubborn that it's not going to happen. It's going to be an even split with Bijan getting like the better touches other than goal line.
Yeah.
It also worked.
It did work. It definitely did work.
London and Pitts under 4.5 receptions combined. I paid up at running back very significantly. I've got Saquon Barkley. Think they're in a major bounce back spot against the aforementioned dumpster fire that is the Arizona Cardinals. And other guy you may have heard of, Christian McCaffrey against the Rams.
You're naming one of my fantasy teams this year in my family league.
I don't know how you got both of them in the same league. It's absurd.
Yeah. That is bold.
I don't think any of them listen to this, so I'm just going to say I draft with idiots.
I'll make sure I email this link to all of them.
Thank you.
I had to pay down a bit at wide receiver, given that pay up
I
for
would think so.
running backs, naturally. I did go back to Mike Evans. Shout out to the Evans family. I also went with multiple Zays on my team this week. I went Zay Flowers and Zay Jones, who seems like the number 2 wide receiver in Jacksonville ahead of Christian Kirk.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Other than Calvin Ridley, of course. We know that you both have.
Yeah, I have Calvin Ridley, who underpriced in my opinion after what we saw last week. He looks like he might be top 5 kind of material this season.
Yep.
And then I played a guy who had 8 targets last week and no catches. 1 T. Higgins. It feels dirty, but I'm going with it was 1 game, and we know T. Higgins is good. So he got priced down quite a bit. So we'll fit him in, and then I went back to Jahan Dotson. I think, I don't know. He's cheap. He's got a good matchup with Denver. Assuming that what's his name, Surtain, Surtain 2Ls covers Terry Lauren. So went back to Dotson. What do you got, Ty?
So I have Ridley as well to stack with Trevor. I also have Zay Flowers, who looks very good immediately. And then I needed to save some money in my lineup, so I went with
River Craycraft.
No, I went with Rashee Rice.
Nice.
Ooh.
Because ball's got to go somewhere, and probably not going to go Sky Moore or Tony's way as much as it was going to before the season.
It's a fine dart throw.
I think that matchup's going to be a shootout.
I would not be surprised. Hopefully Kelsey's back for it.
That would help it be a shootout.
I had to pay down significantly at tight end and flex. Tight end, I went with Adam Troutman, the newly crowned tight end one for the Broncos after Greg D. Did he pop a hamstring or something? I don't know. All tight ends now don't have hamstrings in the entire
And
NFL.
receivers.
They all had them removed. Also, I told you his name was going to come up again. Josh Reynolds in the flex, 3,700
Oh
against
no.
Seattle. So that doesn't strike fear in both of you.
Good luck.
Yeah. Also, as I was going through, I paid down very much at tight end and flex so that I could pay up at defense, which seems counterintuitive. But I've got the 49ers D against the Rams.
That is something I did not do. I have Titans defense against the Chargers, and I was disgusting. So with that though, I was able to grab Darren Waller at tight end. I think the Giants bounce back, like you said.
Yep.
Dave, I can't imagine similar to last week. Then the flex, I went with Javonte Williams. I think there's a shot at pretty good usage at a relatively low price in a, I don't know, good player, low price, usage looks to be there, so I went for it.
And I will wrap up. So I'll start with defense. I have the Jets, who,
Wow.
I mean, it was paying down. I didn't like aim to
Yeah.
get them, but
Yeah.
they do have a legit defense. So I think they can certainly take the ball away from Dak at least once because he is still average. At tight end, I'm staying in that
Generous.
hopeful shootout game, and I have Evan Engram. Again, I didn't set
Double
up to use
stack.
him, but I just wanted to get pieces of that game. And then in the flex, I have this kind of unknown running back named Saquon Barkley, who should shred the Cardinals.
Right. So, for those of you listening at home, the player to pay up for this week, like last week was Tyreek Hill. This week it's Saquon Barkley. As you guys both have him, and I do not.
There you go. Smash the Saquon overs. He's not on my team, so he'll play the whole game.
He will not get hurt
Feels
until he does.
feels
Yeah,
pretty safe.
I drafted this year. I was like, Dave won last season. How can I be like Dave? And I just tried to take as many players as you had last year. So,
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson, Saquon.
Well, I
Listen,
appreciate
Not a bad
the
strategy.
I appreciate that my success led to your draft strategy this year.
Yeah.
So congratulations on having good players.
well, you drafted like I did last year, where you take a bunch of good guys and then they get hurt.
Right. That was my mistake.
It's like Freaky
Yeah.
Friday, but fantasy football.
No idea where this is going to end up. But final segment.
Bold predictions.
All right, I'm gonna save Jax for last because I feel like
Please.
Jax is the hottest. I don't. Mine's pretty high. I've got the Jets beating the Cowboys, so that would be Zach Wilson going up against the defense that put up 2 more touchdowns than the Giants offense last week. But Tyler, I think what you said about the Jets D, I think they could certainly keep them in that game. And I think Aaron Rodgers had a little bit of influence on Zach Wilson, and I think he's going to not be dreadful this year.
Yeah.
Whether that means the team around him is good enough to win games, TBD, but I could absolutely see the Cowboys like being very high on themselves after putting up 40 in prime time and walking in thinking that's going to be a cakewalk, and they have a big letdown. So that's my hot take.
I think that is scorching hot, just so you know.
I mean, they are a
I think
9.5 point
yeah.
underdog. So
I think the Jets D is good, and then they can generate turnovers and score points. But that is definitely not the same as them beating the Cowboys. I mean, let's be clear. Aaron Rodgers got hurt 4 plays into the game. Well, 4 plays in the offense because their O-line is horrible. And the Dallas pass rush is probably the best in the NFL. That seems like Zach Wilson's going to be running right a lot and throwing left a lot. So
that's why it's bold.
yeah, it is. Mine, I don't know how bold it is. I just said Justin Fields is going to be the QB1 on the week. I mean, he sucked last week. Maybe that's why it feels hotter than it really is. We all know that if he just like breaks off a run or two, it kind of breaks scoring, but I don't know. He might not be good at football.
He might not be.
Yeah,
he could
I'm
also
starting to think that.
he could also run for 180 yards on 3 carries.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
All right, Jack, take it home.
Can
All
I
right,
actually
so I went-
preface Jack's real quick? Can you walk yours through like the iterations of it? Start with what it was,
Yes.
and then
Yeah.
please, because it changed
So-
since we started this podcast.
Did it really?
Yes.
So I started with
It's- Those
I
2 things
started
aren't
with
even related.
the Bills. The Bills would lose again this week. They're playing the Raiders. I don't know. I just have a feeling that the Bills are like it's their window has passed, and we'll get more into that in a moment. But I don't know. Allen's like has regressed significantly from when he was playing really, really well, like early last year and the end of the year before. Turnover machine only can find Diggs. They're gonna lose to Jimmy G and the Raiders. Then I have that the Chiefs are gonna lose to the Jaguars. That one I feel like isn't that hot because Jacksonville's in the playoffs. And then I have the Bengals also losing to the Ravens. Again, not that hot, but I think the combo of the Bills, Chiefs, and Bengals all losing is pretty wild. They've been like the 1 through 3 seeds the past 3 seasons, and that would make them all 0-2. But that opens up a slot in those top 3 seeds for the New York Jets to win the AFC East. I, like Dave said, do not think it was that much of a downgrade at quarterback. Aaron Rodgers
What?
is toast.
I
Yeah,
didn't
dude,
say
he
that,
has
to
no-
be clear.
He has no vision. The past 2 years, he lost his like vision and confidence to throw. He has, I don't
Probably all
know.
that time he spent in the dark.
I don't think I mean, he still has all the arm talent in the world. And I think his skills like rubbed off on Zach Wilson a little bit. Zach Wilson still isn't good, but
Mhm.
I don't think that Jets team needs much more than a little bit of a better Zach Wilson than last year to win the AFC East and make the playoffs. I mean, they were what, 9-8 last year or 8-9? I mean, Miami's 1 headshot away from River Craycraft playing quarterback. Although 2 is good.
He's very good.
Like good.
Yeah. He is second in current MVP odds, by the way, after week
Oh.
1.
He was the MVP through like week 9 last year or something, wasn't he? Like he was on pace before he got hurt.
Is Mahomes still first?
To be honest with you, don't know. But I mean, it is the end of the podcast, so happy to now start Googling everything.
We brought this back for everyone who
Bringing
forgot
that
about
back.
this segment.
Yeah, does India have Thanksgiving?
Yes, confirmed. Pat Mahomes still number 1, followed by Tua,
Yeah, his odds.
Hurts, Burrow, and Justin Herbert.
That one.
No,
is
Josh
crazy.
Allen.
Josh Allen is 6th.
Oh, there he is.
Here's
Mahomes'
a-
odds probably went up after everybody saw what happens without Kelsey. Kelsey's odds should have went up too.
Yeah, I mean,
Dude,
if that
you
game
know who
didn't tell
should
you
be
that
in
Kelsey was the
there?
MVP.
Tyreek.
Yeah.
Dude's on
Tyreek
pace for like
Hill.
3,500 yards.
Tyreek Hill currently has the same MVP odds as Matthew Stafford and Kirk Cousins.
That guy.
Also
What did
fun
Cup
to-
did Cup didn't win MVP 2 years ago, right?
No, I don't believe so. Also fun to think about. Kyler Murray, Kenny Pickett, Daniel Jones, and Baker Mayfield all have the same odds for MVP. Kyler legitimately may not play a snap. And somehow, directly after those 4 quarterbacks, Nick Chubb. I don't know what that is. I can't make sense of that.
No,
Running backs don't matter.
these odds makers are like, we know the top 5 are like all that we have
Gonna
to worry
win
about.
anyway.
Let's just
Yeah.
start going crazy. Put
What will
Pickett
make
and Tua in
people
there.
What will make people put $1 on this?
Yeah.
Since I'm continuing to scroll down, I'll also have you know that Deebo Samuel and Zach Wilson also have the same MVP odds.
Sounds about right.
Should be a weird one. All right. Any final thoughts heading into week 2?
I think I'm a Jets fan this season.
Oh, I mean, I want them to win so badly.
Do
Think
you
about the
really?
redemption story of Zach Wilson. People are
I
like
don't know.
rooting for him now.
I could get on board with that.
It's definitely not going to happen. Don't get me wrong. But
Probably not.
I want it to happen.
Yeah.
That O-line is so bad.
The O-line is terrible, but Tua and the Dolphins to the moon.
It's likely. Go Birds.
Go Birds!
Thanks for listening to the Hong Kong Fusion Podcast. Send your mailbag questions to hkfpod@gmail.com, and we'll see you next week.